When I was younger, I used to create claymations, and I remember always finding the finished product mesmerizing and deeply fulfilling. Recently, I decided to return to those creative roots. For this project, I suspended a piece of printer paper between a stool and a bin using painter's tape, creating a makeshift screen. My figure and the tree was crafted from cardstock, and I applied olive oil to the tree to make the colors more visible. Although I tried to dry the oil, it left the screen slightly oily, but I ended up liking the rustic effect it gave the final piece mixed with my warm lighting. To animate, I set up my phone beneath the screen and used the stop motion app, relying on the front camera to capture the images. My first attempt was unsuccessful because I kept breathing through my nose, which disrupted the setup, but for the second attempt, I wore a mask and used tweezers to carefully adjust the positions of the pieces, moving them incrementally. The initial test was shot at 5 frames per second, but I found this too slow. The final piece was created at 15 frames per second, 10 felt a bit sluggish, and 20 was too fast. At 15 frames per second, the animation felt cohesive yet retained an organic quality to its movement, and this speed could be changed in the app. One of my favorite aspects of this process was the freedom to let the piece evolve naturally. I didn't feel pressure to make decisions right away. Instead, I moved the pieces little by little, and when the arrangement started to resemble something meaningful, I committed to it. The finished animation feels like a reflection of the shared human experience of striving towards a goal. Sometimes we're more put together, other times we fall apart, but we can always piece ourselves back together. Our goal, like the apple and the tree, can shift and change as we move and work towards them, and when the goal is finally reached, it feels as though we become one with it and sometimes lose ourselves in the next step. Although this piece is simple and short, watching it on a loop and focusing on different elements gives it a sense of depth and length. I like the idea of goals existing in a constant cycle. Looking back, I think this piece worked really well, although I see potential for improvement. Adding more components, perhaps another plane for background scenery, could give it greater depth. What I really enjoyed about this medium is how I can take my time and move each piece with precision, which is something I've struggled with in my past shadow puppet projects.